G'day YouTubers. In this episode I'm going to service one of my fishing reels. It's a pen spin fisher. It's a really nice reel for live baiting. It's not enormously expensive, but it's not a cheap reel either. Something worth looking after. And by servicing it yourself, you're saving yourself some money. You're either saving yourself the money that you would otherwise pay to someone else to do the servicing, or you're saving yourself some money by preserving your reel so that it lasts longer and you don't have to replace it quite so quickly. Either way, it's a win. It's pretty simple to do, and while I'm not going in for any real close-ups in this video, because all reels are a little bit different, the idea is just to show you that it's pretty easy for anyone to do. So have a look at the video, and maybe have a try at servicing one of your reels. I use CRC Tackle Guard, which is a spray-on lubricant, and I use a tube of reel lube for the grease. I chose them because they're both supposed to be saltwater resistant, and also because any residue that manages to get onto the fishing line, A, won't damage the braid, and B, won't chase the fish away. Both of these are important considerations. I'll put a link down in the description in case you guys want to buy any of these for yourselves. I've used them for a while and I reckon they're pretty good products. Let's go service my pen spin fisher reel. The drag adjustment's getting very stiff. They're very waterproof reel, I'm told, so it shouldn't be much of a problem. But I'm going to pull it apart and give it a good grease and everything just the same. Still got a reel not to look after, of course. Now, I don't know what sort of tools I'll need. I've never pulled one of these apart, so I've got the jeweler's drivers set here in case I need them. And I've got a reasonably small Phillips head driver, which won't go into that easily or damages if I try to do it with that. These might be alright. Whenever I'm pulling something new apart, I always lay the screws out so I know where they came from, because sometimes I'll have a longer screw in somewhere than anywhere else, so I just like to get the screws back into the same hole. I reckon it's poor design if they make a longer screw or a screw with a different thread, but it does happen, so better safe than sorry. I'll just try and see if these Phillips head here go in there. It's not too good, not too willing to go around. I might need to assist it a little bit. Need something more than that. Don't want to do that. Let's get this off. Right, let's get another screwdriver to get that off. What we've got to do is I've got this small screwdriver, the head fits in that screw perfectly, but I can't get any leverage on it to twist it. So I've got the spike here and a hole in the screwdriver, so what I want you to do is to insert that there and give it a twist while I put plenty of pressure down on it to make sure it doesn't slip. So, okay, get it in the hole there. Right, twist. Beautiful, that should do it. Just breaking the seal. Yep. Oh, no, hang on, we're going to have to go a bit more because it's still tight, very tight. Hang on, see if I can get it now. Quite tight, but it's getting in there. Okay, got it now. Oh, thank you for that. That was very difficult. That should just come on. Oh, hang on. Oh, I see. I see. Tricky. There's another one in here. Oh, okay, got to do the same again, but...
Another one.
Yeah, I didn't see it. I think I might just leave that soak through for a minute before we do anything with it.
So shall we have coffee?
Yes, coffee sounds lovely, thank you. The video stopped recording on that camera. I don't know where it stopped, but yeah, I hope it got most of this. I took this side off here. Everything is still in place in there. We've got to be careful with springs and all sorts in there. There's that little gasket around the side there which I was very careful not to break. You can see that the gasket goes around the screws, so if you've got to insert a screwdriver in to ease it apart, you want to do it in where the screws were, so try and avoid harming that gasket, otherwise it's going to leak. So now we've got this much, a little bit of grease on all the cogs while we're here. Don't want to overdo it, but we want to get enough around there that it'll work into everything that's a moving part on it. I'll put some up on these as well. Now, what I'm going to do is give it a good liberal squirt with this tackle guard CRC. I don't know whether it's any different to normal CRC, but I'm going to take it on trust that they haven't just repackaged normal CRC and that this is not going to frighten the fish away if it gets on the fishing line. Unfortunately, that's all you can do is take it on trust, and we all know that a lot of people do repackage stuff and sell it for a higher markup just because they say it is aimed at a particular market. Anyway, be that as it may, I'm going to use this. I'll just get something to protect the table. Give that a liberal spray. A little bit of moisture in there too. Give it all a good clean up anyway, and put a bit of grease here, there and everywhere and put it back together. You should always collect your junk mail from the footpath letterbox wherever they drop it, because it is invaluable for jobs like this. Now, that is just way oversprayed. I'm going to count on that and dissolving some of that verdigrease that's in there. Set that up on there so it doesn't all just run out. There's a little bit in here too, so I'm going to give that a spray. Give this a spray in here, because there's some deposits in there, and a little bit of spray there as well. Before we call it quits, I'll get a cotton bud and clean off any of that gunk that's in there, re-lube it and put it back together, and it should be then as good as new. At least we hope so. I need to get a little container and put these things in and squirt them with that lube too, because they're all showing signs of having some deposits on them. I'll just cut the bottom off a disposable cup to use for this job. Now, 4 screws are the same length, same thread. They go into the side, so we don't need to worry about mixing them up. The other 2 screws are distinctly different, so again, we won't be mixing them up. Just got to remember where they go. So throw all that in, and a little spray of the oil, and I'll just leave that for a bit to soak in, and then I'll get some cotton buds and just give that a clean off before I put it back together. This is those things I was talking about before, cotton tips. Right, just working this now to make sure that it's all okay. It's certainly eased a lot now, so it's easy to use as it should be. So I think we can put it back together now. I've given it a good grease up everywhere that it needs it, and it's working very freely now, so we're putting back together. So just put a little bit more grease around this over in here. do any harm. There we go. Back together so far. Now we don't want to forget this little O-ring here. It's got to go on. Which is easier said than done. Alright, that's got it. Got it. So let's excess oil off here. And we're going to start putting screws in. And okay. 4 screws the same. When you're putting the screws in, don't tighten them too tight to start. I always work diagonally on anything like this. That seems to be having. Ah, that's better. That moves well now. Now, how does it work? Oh, yes. Yes, need to adjust the drag, of course, but no, actually, might not. Oh, yeah, still need to adjust the drag. Yep, okay. That's all good. So I can just go ahead now and put that away. Put it back on the rod. Give it a bit of a wipe off, make sure there's no excess oil around. And fingers crossed that the oil doesn't frighten the fish away, which is why I took the trouble of buying special oil for it. Alrighty, and that's all there is. That reel is fully serviced now and ready to go catch some big fish. And just a finishing touch on this now, I put one of these zip ties around it. They've got a hole in the top, these ones, so I think you put a nail through the hole to hold them onto the wall, probably for wiring or something like that. Whatever, you can get them in the hardware, and I just put it on there, tighten it up really tight, cut the excess off, and then that is where I hook my hook, and that means I don't have to damage the bail arm or the guides putting a hook on that. Taking this as an example, just get the hook, stick it through there, and that's nice and secure, won't fall off and get anyone, and doesn't damage your rod. So there's another tip. And that's it. There was one point there that I needed to get my wife's help because a couple of the screws were really stuck in, but once I had her on side, it was easy to do. So worst case scenario, you need to get your partner, your wife, or one of your mates to give you a hand. Most of the time, it isn't necessary. The reel will just come apart quite easily. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you got something out of it, and I hope you give it a go yourselves. Just be careful you don't lose any parts. Take things apart slowly. Make sure there's no springs that are going to surprise you. I haven't come across a reel yet that there is, but that's not to say they're not out there. Thanks for taking the time to watch, and until next time, good fishing.